welcome home, you're such a hero, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going, oh my gosh, if they only knew what I was thinking about myself, or even if they only knew what I did downrange. So there's this part of yourself that you can't get closure on. And chaplains are really good at that because they can put those things together very nicely. We have different resources out in the community. Military One Source. I know you get 6 free sessions per issue. So if you have communication problems or sleepless nights or whatever, well, there's 2 sessions. There's 12. There's two issues. So there's 12 sessions. So those are really good resources. And you know, sometimes it might just take 1 or 2 times just to talk to somebody and just to clear your head, just to take that burden off your shoulders. I'm a clinician. I've been a clinician for years. So I have spent thousands and thousands of hours with direct contact with combat vets. And so it really does help just to have someone to talk to. In that regard, I want to also say, and I tell all the guys that I talk to, that if you go to a clinician and you feel like they just don't get it, they don't understand you and they don't get it, go somewhere else. Find someone else until you find the person that you think can sit with you where you are and allow you to talk about whatever you need to talk to so you feel safe and you feel comfortable. Because all these tools are fine and dandy, and we've got tons of them. But the most important thing to me is the relationship. That relationship is the key thing. And that's the same thing with our social support. Relationships, a battle buddy, a family member, an older veteran. I've been pairing my OIF guys up with my Vietnam vets. I might have an OIF guy that's having a little bit of problem or might need some little care, extra care, like not being alone by himself. And I get his permission and I call one of my Vietnam vets and they're there in a heartbeat. And that is such a powerful relationship. I had a young wife who found me, and she was just like little Everybody Bunny or something. She found me and she knew I worked with vets, so she made sure that when her husband, who was wounded, came home from Iraq after he had been processed, that she would have my appointments all lined up for him. So when he came to see me, which he did willingly, thank goodness, we worked together for quite a while. And he was having some severe PTSD. And then one day, after we had worked together for quite a while, he came back to me and he said, you know, a strange thing happened today. And he said, I went out to Costco for the first time. You know, Costco is like, or Walmart, oh my gosh. But anyway, it's not a fun experience. I've got some of those in myself with vets that I've gone out with who are friends, and we've had a few little experiences out there in those shopping malls and stuff. So anyway, we went, or he said, I went to Costco today and I ate lunch for the first time in public. I go, really? I go, that is so cool. And I go, how did you do that? Tell me all about it. Well, you know how the cash registers are here, and out here is where the hot dog stand is. You'd think he'd probably sit with his back to the hot dog stand. It's more contained. It's a little bit safer. And he was shot with by a sniper. So you'd think he'd want to really cover his back, right? Well, no. He sat with his back to the cash registers. And I said, well, how did you manage to do that? And he goes, I don't know. I just found this old man, and we just sat down, and we just started talking, and I stayed there for about 2 hours. And I go, wow, that is really, really neat. I said, well, tell me about this old man. And my mind is already starting to click, right? I said, tell me about this old man. And he goes, well, I guess, well, he's a World War II vet. And I go, ha, that's it. And so I heard all about the old man, and I said, you know what? I said, you want me to tell you one of the reasons I think you might have been able to sit there for 2 hours with your back up against all those people? Because I said, that old man had your back. And literally, that's what it was. It doesn't matter the age or the war or the branch of service. You guys are like you have little beacons. You know, you can spot each other out in a room of 10 million people. You've got this common thread. and this common experience of serving our country, no matter how old or how young you are. And so that was a really powerful example for me, and for him as well, because he didn't make the connection. I helped to make that connection of how important it is to measure, why do I feel comfortable in this situation and not in that situation? And that relationship right there made all the difference in the world to him. Unfortunately, we are also seeing quite a big, significant increase in alcohol abuse. And on the island where I was, over in Oahu, I see these little blackberries. Sometimes I get to read the little blackberries. And most of the little blackberry messages, if it's a motor vehicle fatality, motorcycle fatality, domestic violence, the common component is alcohol. So, and of course, what are they doing? They're self-medicating. They don't feel comfortable taking the psychotropic medications. Some of them don't like the feel of feeling like a zombie. I hear this all the time. And that's why it is so important for those of you who are prescribing that you also incorporate that with some therapeutic interventions as well. So there's just more than you that's monitoring this person. I do a lot of monitoring myself when I'm in my practice. Of course, I haven't been there for a year now. But it's very important as clinicians that you work very closely with the prescribing physicians. One of the things, too, that I'm seeing, how am I doing on time?
About 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes. Okay. Another thing that is very interesting, too, a lot of our guys and women are going to be getting out of the military eventually. So they have to set goals, right? It's very important that people set goals. And so one of the things that I've seen personally, a couple of cases of mine, one guy went back to his work at a major organization that is very, very veteran-friendly. Very veteran-friendly. Well, what happened was he was being harassed by two younger men, and he's about 46 years old. He was being harassed by two young men in his unit. And he was a .50 caliber machine gun on the back of a Chinook, and he certainly had seen some stuff. And so, of course, what did he want to do? He wanted to take the situation into his own hands and neutralize it the way he knew how to neutralize it. But I had to really work on him to try to reel him in, because he was getting so out of control in terms of his rage, because they would tease him. They would come up to him and say, hey, you think you're a big, bad Iraqi vet? Well, let's just see what you're made of. And I'm thinking, you know what? You really don't want to know what he's made of, because he could annihilate you in a second. So what I had to do, I had to go to bat for him, and I wrote a letter to the organization that is supposed to be veteran-friendly. And I also submitted it to the state of Washington, from where I'm from, as a major complaint against harassment of our veterans. And unfortunately, you are not in a protected population. So one of the things that's going to be very difficult for some of them is when they transition back into the workforce. So it's very important that you guys have the skills you need to know what you can tolerate and be able to communicate that to your prospective employers. The other place is school. You go into the colleges. Now, up in Washington State, we have a program where we go out into the colleges, and it's really neat. I'm a contractor with Washington State Department of Veterans Affairs, so I get to provide free services to veterans and family members. It doesn't matter what branch of service, doesn't matter what era. And so one of the things that we also do is we do a lot of work with the armories, or down at Fort Lewis, or whatever, wherever it is. We'll go wherever it is and do some processing. And so one of the things now, we've got a program in place where we go out into the colleges and we educate the educators about the interesting aspects of having a young Marine or soldier or airman or seaman coming back into your classrooms, because that can agitate. You know, the students have a different perspective on this war